Hey guys, the US Treasury has no backup plan in case of a default, while Biden's negotiations with Republicans could end in a stalemate. Bitcoin is hanging by a thread in the wake of the US default, and only a few altcoins from China could very well rise as early as June 1st. Let's look into it right now. The potential U.S. default, which could happen in as little as 15 days, is the main event of the financial world. The situation today is as follows. On one side are the Republicans, who are demanding spending cuts and are not going to vote yet to raise the U.S. debt ceiling. And on the other side are Biden and the Democrats, who convinced themselves of the importance of avoiding default and voting to raise the debt ceiling. Biden's first round of talks with the Republicans ended with nothing, because of which the U.S. president warned of the disastrous consequences for the country and the world in the event of a U.S. default. Biden's last meeting with Republicans took place on Tuesday. The White House called the conversation productive and direct, adding Biden was optimistic that there was a path to a responsible bipartisan budget agreement if both sides negotiate in good faith and recognize that neither side will get everything it wants. But so far, these are just words, and the Republicans haven't voted for anything yet. The U.S. president even had to cancel several visits to focus on raising the national debt limit, which further emphasizes the importance of this event and the unpredictable consequences from a possible U.S. default. A week ago, though, former U.S. President Donald Trump advised Republicans to let the U.S. default. Trump believes that default only seems scary, and in fact it could be nothing, or perhaps just a bad week or a bad day. That sounds more like Trump's negotiating style to me. First give an ultimatum and then come up with a deal that benefits him. Every day we are getting closer to a U.S. default, and it is important to understand that no country in the world and no financial instrument will be left behind in the event of a default. And this is especially true of cryptocurrency. How hard would a default hit the markets and ordinary people? U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen can help us answer this question. Let me quote what Yellen said. A default would threaten the gains that we've worked so hard to make over the past few years in our pandemic recovery. And it would spark a global downturn that would set us back much further. Yellen also added that it would risk undermining U.S. global economic leadership and raise questions about our ability to defend our national security interests. Yellen stressed that the default could indeed come on June 1st, which is very soon. And worst of all, they have no plan B at this point in time in case of a U.S. default. That's why it's essential not to let it happen. Next, we are going to talk about the outlook for Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency market in the event of a default. And at the end, I'm going to share why I am betting heavily on some China coins. It's also related to the default. Since default will affect everyone's assets, mostly for the worse, the question arises: how to secure your assets and savings against default? Bloomberg conducted just such a survey, and the results may please crypto investors. Respondents identified gold as the safest asset in the event of a U.S. default. Gold has historically served as a protective asset against various disasters, wars, or defaults, so there is nothing surprising here. The second place went to the U.S. Treasuries. There's something of irony to that, given that's the very thing America would probably be defaulting on. But it is not that simple. Many believe that the default will be short-term, as Trump predicts, and the holders of Treasuries will get their payments, albeit a little later. And in third place was Bitcoin, leaving the US dollar behind. Investors have less and less confidence in the dollar and are open to new assets. That's what we see in the survey. What assets would you rather hold in the event of a default? Share in the comments. Let's move on to our favorite part and analyze the Bitcoin chart. There has been a strong bullish trend since the beginning of the year. By the way, the main growth occurred during the bank crashes in the US and Europe, oddly enough. Bitcoin uses the crisis as a fuel for growth and can do the same in the case of a default in the USA. Bitcoin has been stuck in a distribution zone for the last 2 months. First, summer is coming up, which is historically a period of low activity and volatility. Second, investors are waiting to see if the Fed will stop raising rates and what happens with the U.S. default. And third, crypto is slowly continuing to be regulated, which has many investors worried. In the last video, I told you that the biggest market makers are leaving the U.S. market. Now there are rumors that the SEC will sue Coinbase. Overall, the market is in a very gloomy and vague mood. That said, Bitcoin has dropped below its 50-day moving average and has every chance of plummeting below 24,000 to the next support zone. I won't make any short-term predictions about Bitcoin, as a lot will be decided in the next 2 weeks, so let's observe. Globally, I expect a bull market in 2024 after the Bitcoin halving. But if there is a threat of default and regulation of cryptocurrency in the US, then in China very soon crypto will be given a second life and some altcoins may surge well. And now I'm going to tell you which ones and why. As of June 1st, it will be legal to buy and sell cryptocurrency in Hong Kong. This event could attract Chinese as well as institutional investors to buy digital assets. Do you remember how AI coins got pumped amid the ChatGPT trend? A similar situation could happen with coins that are related to China. I'm breaking down such projects on Twitter in real time and also sharing interesting ideas. Subscribe so you don't miss out on top deals, and you will find the link is in the description box. Now I'm going to share a few coins that I'm following closely. The first candidate is Conflux Network with CFX token. Conflux is the first regulatory compliant public blockchain in China. The project is working with China Telecom to develop blockchain SIM cards. Yes, those do exist. Let's take a look at the charts. The CFX token has surged 10 times since the beginning of the year, but it has already corrected decently. The first investors took profits, and traditionally there may be a second wave of the pump amid the legalization of cryptocurrency in Hong Kong. In the current situation, I don't believe in the strong growth of Conflux, but it is a good asset that could show itself in the medium to long term as the crypto industry develops in Hong Kong and China. Keep in mind, however, this is not financial advice. The second asset that is also related to China is Alchemy with the ACH token. Alchemy is a payment platform. Alchemy recently partnered with CNHC, the CNH offshore Chinese yuan stable currency, to provide seamless crypto ramp solutions and payment scenarios. With this partnership, CNHC will be added to Alchemy Pay's ecosystem, allowing users to buy and sell CNHC using various global currencies. ACH token has also surged 6 times since the beginning of the year, but then plummeted by more than 50%, forming a good support zone of 2 to 3 cents. Anything below that range would be considered a good point to buy ACH, with the prospect of selling it in a year on the bull market. All in all, that's all I wanted to tell you. Subscribe if you like the content I make. Thanks for watching your Coin Post.